Thanks for joining us on this edition of National Focus. I'm Mervin. Coming up, Grotto Home residents to move to new premises by December 2014. Dominica hosts the 12th annual Organization of Caribbean Utility Regulators Conference, and the Dominica's leader has been nominated to contest the Vieille Case seat for re-election. Stay tuned for details of these and other stories after this.
A lot of bathtubs are blamed for bruises. Some staircases are accused of being responsible for broken bones. Doors are occasionally viewed suspiciously as causing lesions. A high percentage of tables are accused of producing bleeding or trauma. Violence against women is a crime, and it's everyone's responsibility. It's inexcusable. If you're a victim or witness of physical or psychological violence or abuse, seek help and denounce the perpetrator.
Thank you for staying with us. Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit, who is also the incumbent parliamentary representative for the Vieille Case constituency, has officially presented himself to Vieille Case constituents as a candidate for another term as their representative. At 10:30 this morning, the nation's leaders sat at the Vieille Case polling office with 6 electors who cast their votes as a show of confidence in his representation. Wednesday, November 19, was nomination day in Dominica. That means that those hoping to be election candidates would have been nominated by at least 6 electors of their polling districts. These hopefuls would have also paid their $500 deposits, which will be returned if those seats are won on December 8th. The Dominica Electoral Commission reported on Tuesday that 2,895 new voters have registered from the period October 1 to November 6, 2014. The electors list reflects the fact that Dominica's election laws provide for continuous registration and strict procedures as to the manner in which any registered elector may be removed from the register. This list shall constitute the names of registered electors on the preliminary list, numbering 69,589 persons, and those above mentioned supplementary list brings the list of eligible voters to a total of 72,484 in the upcoming general elections. The Commission has over the years succeeded in removing from the register the names of deceased registered electors whose deaths have been confirmed through the civil registry and or due inquiry and investigation. The Electoral Office has repeatedly advised the public of the need to utilize the objections procedure stipulated by law in order to initiate the process by which names of ineligible persons may be deleted. A few notices of objections have been received and are being dealt with in accordance with the law. According with Section 16 of the Registration of Electors Act, Chapter 203, the Supplementary Register was established on November 11, 2014. The statutory period for objections is in respect to the register ended on Monday, November 17. Residents of the Grotto Home for the homeless will soon be able to move onto the new housing location in Bellevue. The home, on which the construction began in early 2012, is hoped to be completed by the end of this year. Addressing His Excellency the President Charles Savre as he made his annual visit with his charity to hand liver donations to the organization on Tuesday, Ainsworth Irish, president of Community Hostels Inc., gave a brief update on the status of the new facility.
Thanks to the government of Dominica, who have really, pumped a lot of funds and finances into the whole structure at Bellevue. And of course, we've been having little problems. I can tell you that we are about 80% complete. As I speak to you, the electrical work is being done, the plumbing is being done, and we have 2 tentative dates. We have the 27th of November slated as one of the dates to move, and the alternative date is on the 10th of December, as Mr. Bellot indicated.
His Excellency President Savre gave a word of advice to both residents and staff on the issue of adapting to change.
hopefully, by the end of this year, you will have moved to Belvidere. There will be new challenges at Belvidere because every time you move into new accommodations, there is the question of adjustments. It doesn't matter how much time and care has been taken in preparing the physical structure. When human beings occupy the structure, there are adjustments to be made. So the first few days, even the first few weeks, will be challenging to the residents and challenging to the service providers as well, as you adjust to your new environment and to the things that you can do and the things that you cannot do.
The president listed the many changes which will face the group of individuals moving to Belvidere.
You will not be having the amount of traffic that we have outside here. You will not be seeing the number of people passing up and down that you see here. But you will not be as hot as you are here, nor will the building be threatening to fall down on you as it is here. So there will be changes. Most of the changes will be positive, but they will also have to adapt to these new changes.
The Grotto Home has been temporarily housed at the Dominica Club site after government purchased the land which housed the old Grotto Home to facilitate the construction of the Windsor Park Sports Stadium and the new wing of the Dominica Grammar School in 2007. The home currently caters to 45 residents. Dominica's own income protection scheme, the Dominica Social Security, is by virtue of Dominica's ratifying of that convention a part of the CARICOM Agreement on Social Security. This agreement, signed in Guyana in 1996, is intended to protect CARICOM nationals' entitlement to benefits and provide equality of treatment when moving from one country to another. Director of the Dominica Social Security explains.
If you had worked in any of the CARICOM countries and contributed there, but had not worked sufficiently, whether it's in Dominica or any of the other countries, to qualify for a pension on your own, because of the provisions of the CARICOM Agreement on Social Security, we can now bring your contributions that you paid in the different countries together to allow you, to help you to qualify for a pension. The provisions under the CARICOM Agreement on Social Security are such that you can first of all qualify for a pension in your own right because you had contributed to any one of the Social Security institutions in the CARICOM area long enough to qualify for a pension independently. By reason of your entitlement to a pension in any one of the countries, whether you had worked for a week in another Social Security, CARICOM Social Security institution, even if you had worked a week in that other island, because you qualify for a pension, a full pension in Dominica, that other country would have to pay you a partial pension.
That agreement is also seen as key in facilitating the free movement of labor within CARICOM. Dominica Social Security also offers benefits to voluntary contributors, specifically long-term benefits of age and invalidity.
Some public officers retire before they reach the pensionable age. Those persons can choose to pay contributions voluntarily and thereby enhance their pension when they do reach the pensionable age. And also, Dominican nationals who are residing overseas can choose to pay contributions to the Social Security program voluntarily. So, before, our provisions for voluntary contributions were only that you would have had to contribute to the Social Security program previously. We have liberalized the conditions so that every Dominican national can in fact now choose to contribute voluntarily to the program. So if you have family members who are residing overseas, they can now choose to pay contributions to Social Security and thereby enhance their quality of life during retirement.
A challenge which persists for the organization is the failure of employers to remit their employees' deductions to the Dominica Social Security.
Where we receive the information, we pursue the employers. First of all, we would visit wherever, because we have officers who are empowered under the Act to enter any premise that they suspect employment is taking place. So these officers would visit the employers with a view to determining the debt. When the debt is determined, we write to the employer and give them time by which to pay the contributions. Where they fail to pay, we take them to court, but we know the court process can be very slow. Okay? So first of all, we give them time to pay. We enter into debt agreements with these defaulting employers, and where they fail to pay, we take court action against them to get them to pay.
For 3 days from November 19 to 21st, practitioners in the field of utility regulations across the region will convene for the first time in Dominica at the 12th Annual Conference of the Organization of Caribbean Utility Regulators. OOCUR is a non-profit organization established by an agreement in July 2002 in Ocho Rios, Jamaica, with the following objectives:
to assist in the improvement of utility regulation. In fact, if you're not improving, you're actually going backwards, and that's a general principle. That is not unique to utility regulation. So that's one. Secondly, to foster transparent and stable utility regulation through autonomous and independent regulators in member countries. Thirdly, to undertake research and training as may be appropriate. And fourthly, to facilitate understanding of regulation issues, as well as the sharing of information and experiences.
At the opening ceremony held on Wednesday at the Fortune Hotel, Chairman of OOCUR, John Avery, says although the organization has faced various challenges in recent time, it has made the necessary adjustments and is now poised to move forward. He said the organization intends to increase its influence throughout the Caribbean region. The chairman encouraged those present to consider everything discussed at the conference.
OOCUR is here to try to make a better Caribbean for all of us. And this annual conference is a tool where we get to share our experiences with those within the OOCUR family and all of our friends from outside the OOCUR family. Try to take away as much as you can from these conferences. In many instances, some of the subject matters might not seem relevant to your situation right now, but having attended several OOCUR conferences, I can see where in the past we may have overlooked certain subject matters that were discussed at these conferences, only to be unprepared when those very issues now become imminent and we must face the challenges that they bring. So, regardless of whether you see any immediate need or benefit from any of the issues that are discussed at this conference, keep them in mind, because one day they may be very well what you go to bed with sleeping, with your mind, on your mind sleeping at night, and you wake up first thing in the morning with that same thing on your mind.
The conference, which will be held under the theme Regulating Utilities in the Changing Environment, is hosted by Dominica's Independent Regulatory Commission, IRC. The IRC was established in 2007 and serves as the Electricity Regulator Authority in Dominica. The IRC works to ensure that consumers in Dominica receive the highest quality of electricity at fair and reasonable prices without compromising the financial viability of electric utilities. Alexis George, manager of the Geothermal Project Management Unit, who represented the Honorable Minister for Public Works, Energy and Ports, said government is pleased to welcome OOCUR's conference to Dominica in a time when the energy sector is high on its agenda. One of the major achievements in this sector has been the establishment of the IRC.
The IRC has made significant strides over the past 6 years since its establishment, following are some landmark achievements: ensure the recruitment of appropriate and competent staff, and pursue a relevant and strategic institutional development program for both commissioners and staff. adopted an open and consultative approach to its operations embodied in its rules of practice and procedure. Produce and publish regulatory documents from its procedures for making tariffs to licensing procedures. Establish procedures for adding new electricity capacity to the national grid. The publication of an electrical interconnection policy. Pricing of electricity produced by small distributable renewable systems. Prescribing and determining the quality of service that DOMLEC, the utility, must follow. The establishment of complaints procedure for the general public.
Over the next 3 days, panel discussions will be held to discuss the future of renewable energy, challenges facing the electricity sector, safety in the electricity sector, and water supply scheduling, among others. A new executive director will also be announced at that conference. As a means of generating financial resources, the National Youth Council of Dominica is embarking on a youth-managed business incubator in the form of a sustainable development program for agriculture. NYCD President Josiah Benoit informed GIS News in an interview on Wednesday that the council is channeling its efforts into the establishment of a model farm for ruminant production, more specifically the production of rabbits and goats. Benoit explained.
The vision is now to have a 20-acre model farm where you'll produce goats that would be for meat production as well as milk production. And after we have reached a desirable level in terms of our milk production, we'll then get into agro-processing and we'll be producing hopefully goat cheese, which is a very high value, high demand product.
Bearing in mind the council's greater responsibility for empowering the youth of the nation, Benoit said this new project will create employment for young persons.
Factored into this concept for this business proposal will be an additional 25 individual farms that we hope that young people will take to the challenge of establishing the additional farms that we need to supply the bulk that we need to do the agro-processing. For example, if you have the one model farm, 20-acre farm, producing an X amount of goats. When we are ready to start producing our goat cheese, we'll need milk on a regular basis. So we need to have at least 25 other farms managed by youth, managed by community groups to supply the production of milk so that we can have a consistent supply and tap into regional markets with that level of, accountability.
According to the NYCD president, the council has already undergone extensive discussions with the Central Livestock Farm to have it serve as a hub for training for interested youth. Benoit also mentioned that 10 young entrepreneurs of Woodford Hill have undertaken the job of goat rearing as part of a strategic project in that area. Benoit's hope is that these young individuals will serve as a guide for others. The NYCD president informed that the galvanizer of partners have come on board within the past few months. With the aid of these entities such as the Dominica Youth Business Trust, the Youth Development Division, the Ministry of Agriculture, the Global Environment Facility, the Dominica State College Business League, and the Junior Achievement Dominica, as well as tremendous support from the Prime Minister's office, Benoit noted that much progress has been made in seeing this plan through.
Some lands have been identified in the area of Savannah that are ideal for this project, and so we're very glad to see that the government has already, through the Office of the Prime Minister, given an express commitment to support the NYC in implementing this idea. So we know that we are not working in vain. We know for a fact that with all this support around this project, this must become a reality. What we are trying to do now is to finalize the project proposal so then we can move to the next stage of developing this idea, which is resource mobilization, which will be followed by actual implementation and breaking of the ground towards making this vision become a reality.
The NYC is working with a 4-month time frame towards the commencement of this project. A presentation of gift packages containing baby supplies for expecting and single mothers from several communities was a result of another kind contribution by Melissa Skerritt, owner and manager of Duns and Divas Boutique. Her charitable work for the parents and children, which started in the Rosal area 3 years ago, has become an island-wide institution. These packages contain clothing and food items as well as strollers, playpens and other essentials were donated during a short ceremony at the Windsor Park Stadium on Tuesday. These packages, she indicated, were handpicked. Mrs. Skerritt explains her reasons for giving back.
I am aware of the challenges which many mothers face with caring for their children. Thus, within my capacity, I began providing the basic necessities to the few mothers whom I encountered to ease the immediate burden. However, I felt that this was not enough. A number of mothers began pouring out their hearts during personal encounters on my home visits in the Rosa Central area. Others reached out to me over the phone, through Facebook, through the parliamentary representative, the labor youth organization, but more had to be done. As a mother myself, my spirit was heavily burdened and my mind was not at rest. How can I assist? What can I do to alleviate the real-life challenges of these parents? How can I see a mother struggle when I am in the position to help? I then came up with the idea to develop care packages containing the basic necessities and childcare products that every parent would need to cater to the basic needs of their babies.
Mrs. Skerritt reaffirmed her commitment to continue her program, which she is positive has been making a difference in the lives of single and expecting mothers.
I will do all in my power to assist the children in need. I will continue to transpose what God has blessed me with unto my fellow mothers and continue to reach out to organizations who are able to come on board and assist. Parents, continue to nurture and raise our children in a godly way as we will continue to work with you as a community.
Donations of school supplies and scholarships were made to children of the Roseau Central constituency earlier this year, and gift packages comprising clothing and food items were also presented to children of the Roseau North constituency just this month. Melissa Skerritt is the wife of Dominica's Honorable Prime Minister, Roosevelt Skerritt. And that's the English news. McPherson St. Luce is next with the Creole highlights.
Allô tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle en créole. Non, moi, c'est McPherson St. Luce. Premièrement, membre parlement pour Tissavan, Honorable Dr. Kenneth Darrow, qui a fait parole qui continue à ce chemin de développement, même si il était né un des challenges. Si le Dr. Darrow, il délivre bien formidable pour constituency là.
So oui, moi j'ai délivré, comme on dit, quand tout bagaille, il toujours tant que le monde dit, well, Dr. Darrow, t'es pour faire ci ou t'es pour faire ça, et moi d'accord, mais comme on dit, il plus vous fait et plus qu'il y a des bagailles pour faire. Et aussi, dans ces bagailles là, moi les quitter aussi, que moi voulais dire ce monde que moi j'ai écouté un criticisme, quand first time parliamentarian, m'a dit que m'a courir comme un perfect parler. Moi j'ai fait des mistakes, moi inutile moi travail mon supposé travailler ça que des monde docteur Darrow moi quoi c'est pour venir faire en place ça appelé offre la venir c'est là où aller c'est bité ça là c'est un bagage modé moi j'ai coûté yo c'est pas bagage pour des matin moi quand ça moi ça fait c'est un recommit comme moi que en l'autre terme moi qui en l'autre terme que moi essayer pour travailler dans cette witness là que c'est monde moi dit donc nous voudrions que faire ça plier que faire ça en telle manière c'est monde très confident que la décembre est venu moi gagner une plus grande majorité.
En d'autres nouvelles, Kai Grotto en Roseau, ils font encore bénéficier de donation président Charity Foundation. Président His Excellency Charles Savren et Madame Savren visitaient l'occasion là mardi où d'ailleurs fait une présentation en chèque pour l'institution celle-là. Président Kai Grotto Innsworth Irish était bien plaisir pour visiter président Savren.
Aujourd'hui, je suis tellement content. Excellency, M. Savre, et Madame Savre, et M. Rafoul, Excellency, President Foundation, vini là, tous les la Noël qui vini, et il a toujours qui est pour savoir ça qu'a fait. Et aujourd'hui, il porte un cadeau, on dit l'argent banou, et il still porte sick, et l'autre bite banou. So nous contents ici là. Et au cas où nous avons 45 monde pour manger tous les jours. Et aujourd'hui, His Excellency vini et banou son assistance. As je peux parler de travail qu'a fait à Belvirol, à Place 9 là. Et nous voulons monter là, décembre 10, nous voulons aller à Place 9 là. So, aujourd'hui, nous sommes contents. President Foundation a fait une présentation l'argent avait porté sick aussi pour ceci là.
En même temps aussi, M. Irish fait pas wall pour gouer à ce travail qui a pris place l'occasion 9 à en Belleville.
Le travail qui allait bien, eh bien, il y a entre deux personnes qui étaient volés là, eh bien, ça fait 7 mètres nous derrière. Mais nous about 80%, eh bien, lot 20%, nous avons finishing touches là. So nous avons dit bon December 10. Nous que aller à Hola, because aller là est plus facile pour ces gens là ici. As vous voyez ici là camp, c'est un vieux building. Et bien moi ni pour remercier le gouvernement là, because bah moi dis gouvernement là, we they know a lot. Et bien personally moi je scared ka ban nos contributions. Et bien c'est qui ka we nous qui fait nous pour finir là. Et bien nous content, et bien nous ka dire avant Noël nous voulons monter à Belleville à place 9 là.
En notre nouvelle organisation Caribbean Utility Regulators, qui a tenu un bon meeting en Dominique Simensala. Plaisir commissionnaire pays CARICOM qui a attendu meeting des jours là, qui a pris place en hôtel Fortune en Wozo. Thème là pour meeting ça c'est pour chain régulation utility, à un environ qui a changé. Compagnie qui a one service ensemble, ça qui a chain régulation comme IRC, Domlec en parmi d'autres aussi qui a attendu. Parole sortie qui ces compagnies là supposé conduire business à une manière bonne régulation. Confond cela qu'à participants opportunité pour séparer expérience qui concerne utility. Il a aussi expecté que participants qui tapent un meilleur comportement avec la concerne régulation utility. Gouvernement Dominique représenté par chef projet géothermique, M. Alexis George. Finalement, l'Office des As Dominique travaille et puis l'école en Guantans pour sensibiliser les étudiants à ces affaires qui concernent des as. Parole ça là sortira officier programme Steve Joseph au ligne de exercice simulation qui pour prendre place à semaine là.
Nous déjà fait autant de travail avec jeunes gens, tous ces enfants l'école. Hier, nous parlons avec l'école SDA, nous sommes à RDPS. Nous sommes à St. John's Academy, nous avons fait un gros travail en St. John's Primary. Nous avons fait un bon exemple parce que le principal avec tous ces professeurs-là, ils ont pris ça bien sérieux. Ils ont déjà parlé aux enfants contre des arts sans curriculum. Nous déjà avons créé un tsunami Smart Club en St. John's Primary. Ces enfants-là bien excités contre ça. Ils ont fait activités, poèmes, toutes sortes de qualités d'activités à l'école là. Nous avons fait un message là pour parents. Quand sa famille là, quand a fait message là, nous avons fait ça que fait communauté ça plus préparé pour répondre pour des as. Vous savez, St. John's Primary, St. John's Academy est en place flood. En hiver, à son côté, la mer là pas tout loin. Comme ça, nous avons projet ça bien important pour Guantans.
Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelles en créole pour à présent. Non moins, c'est McPherson, St. Luce. Au revoir.
Dominica is blessed with an abundance of water, but getting it to your home is an expensive venture. You have a responsibility to conserve water, to use it wisely. Remember the old adage, you never miss the water till the well runs dry. Think water. Think life.
And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and comments. Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website at news.gov.dm. Like us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/GIS News Dominica. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. From all of us here on the GIS News Production team, I'm Mervin Matthew. Thank you for watching.